Hello, I'm Jenny Gill. I'm a drama therapist, and if you haven't watched my first video, which is an introduction into who I am and why I'm doing this, then please do take a look at that. But basically this is about our children's emotional health and trying to empower and help the parents that are looking after children in isolation. So when I talk about parents, I'm talking about grandparents and birth parents and foster parents, anyone who is parenting a child at this really difficult time. I've got a motto in life, which is to eliminate the should. And when I think of it, I think of that little target practice thing with the red circle and the cross in the middle. And it's about really just getting rid of that, just eliminating it. And should can lead to shame. So it's all those kind of expectations that we put on ourselves that if we don't reach them, then we feel that shame and that guilt. And it's a very complex emotion, shame, and one that can lead to a lot of negativity. So I just wanted to tell you about this guy who called Leon Festinger. He was an American social psychologist, and he talked a lot about social comparison. And he said that we compare ourselves to others to give ourselves a benchmark where, you know, when you might look at someone and say, oh, at least I'm not as fat as her, or oh my goodness, look at him, he's taught his children how to speak Chinese in this whole time of having social distancing and self-isolation this year. There's a lot of shuns in that. Anyway, you can compare yourself and think, they've taught their child Chinese, whilst what have I done? I have shown them, I put Disney Plus on. So there's that, it's that thinking that there's a benchmark. If I can compare myself to them, then I can see where I am on the scale. But we all know that it can lead to such negativity. I mean, the rise in social media has been so difficult for some people's mental health, and that's partly because of it, because of this comparison. So the thing is, if we allow those things to affect us, then that will filter through into how we're looking after our children, and we want the best for our children. And the other thing to say is that actually when we think about comparing the idea of ourselves with our idea of the other person, and that is just that's not realistic. It's not a true scale to be comparing ourselves with. It actually really reminds me of the time in people's lives when they have young babies, and there's often a group of people who are having babies at the same time, whether that's through an antenatal or just a normal friendship group, and there can be so much comparison in that from the stages that you go through. You know, there'll be a little Amelia who's walked and talked and weaned first out of the whole group, and then there'll be poor Jack, who's stumbling behind and never reaching the goals as early as everyone else. But that's really unhelpful, and apologies if you've got children called Amelia and Jack. I just picked those names out of my head. But it's about every child is different, and you are their parent and you know how to parent them. So it's about trusting yourself, really. There's a famous guy called Winnicott who talked about parents needing to be good enough. So we don't have to be perfect. We actually can't be perfect, but we do know what our children need. And so try and rely on that for yourself, your own instincts, instead of comparing yourself to other people. You just need to be good enough. So you don't have to be looking at Mrs. Jones and thinking, oh, she's got a really strict academic routine, or maybe I should be following that, or oh, so-and-so's, you can be content with thinking, actually, I'm going to teach my children through film, and that's good. Okay. So we cannot compare each other because it is not the same scale. So eliminate the should and stop comparing. All right, see you next time.